In John Wick, we treat him like Odysseus. He just wants to get home. We keep throwing obstacles in his way. So we took the third act in John Wick Chapter 4, and we kind of broke it into 3 set pieces. John Wick is trying to make it across Paris to get to Sacré-Cœur. We start with a vehicular chase, and then what we consider the apartment top shot, and then our final piece goes into the staircase, which we go full Sisyphus. We're big into Greek mythology in John Wick.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Chad Stahelski. I'm the director of the John Wick franchise. Today we're going to be talking about some of the fight and action sequences from John Wick Chapter 4. Just a little heads up, might be a few spoilers. This scene is what we call the Arc de Triomphe, car chase scene. Whenever we're designing action, or especially fight sequences or martial art choreography, you'll always hear the choreographers or the action directors talk about the maze. Rather than an open field where we have a gunfight or a martial art fight, we try to find interesting set pieces. We wanted a movable maze, and my idea was always to, how do we get the walls or the actual maze part of it to move? Cars. We'll just make a movable set piece. And that's how we wanted to search out the world's busiest and craziest roundabout, which we found out in Paris is the Arc de Triomphe. So John Wick stolen a 1971 Barracuda, a cool muscle car. We spent about 5 months teaching Keanu how to drift and do the car stunts, including a reverse 180, 360, what we call an in-out, and a 540 drift. So he's actually spinning the tires and drifting around these guys one-handed as he's firing a gun, which not a lot of cast members can do. So in order to show off all the great, cool stuff that Mr. Reeves did and spent all his time doing it, we wanted to see him doing it. So a trick we had done in John Wick 2 was knock one of the doors off. So we did one better on this. We took both doors off. So no matter what side the camera was on, we saw that it's really Keanu Reeves driving, number one. Number two, even as John Wick, you get to see him put his body language into it. So that helped accentuate the driving sequence. So what you don't see is when we have the 100 stunt drivers, Keanu has a little buffer around him. He's got our best drivers going right on his lanes. So there's 7 lanes of traffic throughout this sequence on the big runway that we had used. Each of these are zoned off with a series of colored cones. So the stunt drivers all know which lanes they're going. They stay in the black cone lane, they stay in the red cone lane, the yellow cone lane, and the hero lane is the blue lane. That's what Keanu goes in. If you looked at the top shot of a circle, they'd all be centrifugal circles in here. Keanu would always know to be in this circle, as the oncoming drivers know to be in their color circle going the opposite direction. That's how we do it. And then in visual effects, we wipe out the cones so you think he's actually weaving in and out of traffic. Keanu's driving about 55 to 60 miles an hour when he's going against traffic right now. What's tracking him, fair enough, is either a camera vehicle, or we have one of the best drone companies in the world, XM2, that's following him at street level with a small drone. So we can stay at traffic level and go over and around above without risking anybody or any camera crews being hurt. It took about 5 months to plan out the whole sequence, and surprisingly enough, we shot the entire sequence in 7 days. The shot we're talking about now is what we call the top shot or the top-down shot. A lot of times you'll see a top-down shot in action sequences or fight scenes, and usually it's because, you know, we're trying to hide a double or we're trying to hide something. But in John Wick, because we have Keanu Reeves and he's so well trained to do it, what we want to do, what we consider a candy cane or a corkscrew shot. So we actually have the camera on a 4-point flying system, and what we've done is we've made 4 big posts outside this set, which we can move the camera just like a joystick. And then the camera's meant to slowly come up on its rotating head, so you know it's Keanu Reeves down here, and the camera kind of does a little candy cane or a corkscrew up, and that's how we keep tracking with it all. Why a lot of people don't do top shots is because when you're looking down, all you see is floor and top of walls that we have to go through. So we took a lot of care in designing the floors. You'll see carpets, you'll see rugs, you'll see blood splatters, you'll see paper, you'll see all different things that make the floor interesting. So we kind of designed the set upside down. When you do art direction looking like this, you'll have light patterns. So we use light coming through here to give all these great little light patterns on the floor. We've scattered a bunch of debris. As you can see, our little papers here. We put a grand piano because it has an interesting shape. Our step ladder that's slightly tilted off angle, so you can see more of it. We have our dog run on the piano and attack our guy here, and every time John Wick shoots somebody, we put an interesting digital blood pattern around him. So we make pretty little pictures on the floor. And you'll see Keanu, all the patterns that he's doing, he lays on his back. Sometimes he'll fall to his back, like in this frame. So you can see, oh, look, that's Keanu Reeves shooting a shotgun in a guy's face. had researched this ammunition called Dragon's Breath. What they are is it's like a buckshot with phosphorus rounds. When the rounds hit the air, they ignite. So it's almost a phosphorus type fire. The whole reason we did the top-down shot is because we have this particular firearm called the Genesis 12 shotgun that shoots these rounds of Dragon Breath. If you just looked at it down, it'd be a circular muzzle flash. From a top down, we see these long muzzle flashes coming from the bad guys, coming from the good guys. So basically you're creating a lateral firework sequence. So we wanted a way to change the lighting scheme and at the same time have this interesting angle and how to suspend that. We just thought it was kind of cool, something a little different. So we have our stuntman on fire down here, and we have our other two coming from here. To highlight the muzzle flash here, we kind of sculpt a darker room with a little highlight. We kind of put the blues and greens on this side so the orange really pops in the center. So we kind of figure out, okay, what's gonna highlight both the character, so we can keep him separate. Our stunt guys coming in here and here, that'll come in. This kind of throws your eye, so you're going right on the motion path. So we kind of dim out, but still shape everything. Dan Louston, my cinematographer, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant shaper of light, especially with color. And a big thing with John Wick is we always call it neon noir. We try to shape things instead of a grittier, grungier look that a lot of action films use. We try to shade with color so it actually throws your eye, but everything feels like a piece of art. Big inspiration for us was the painter Caravaggio, who really brought out blacks, and he shaped through black and he let colors really pop, not by making the colors pop, by really intensifying the blacks. So if you can see here, we kind of always shape, but you don't lose any detail. That's a big thing with us. We just took a movable piece of lighting. Literally, the shotgun is actually lighting part of the scene for us with muzzle flashes. So we intentionally leave the set a little bit darker so that not only do they pop, but they light the subject that we're hitting, in this case, our stuntman right here. So a lot of times in choreography, especially in John Wick, you can get the ideas of the sequence, kind of like a lot of times I used to see the old Hollywood dance films. You know, you want to be in the toy store, like singing in the rain, you want to be on the street with the lamppost in the rain. Other times it's a prop, you're spinning a baton, you're Jackie Chan, you've got a step ladder, you've got plates, you've got a spear or anything like that. You know, whether we find a cool car, a cool motorcycle, or a different style or expression of martial arts, we also do the same thing in firearms. I was a big cartoon and anime guy growing up, so like when you see Wile E. Coyote or Bugs Bunny in some of these amazing pieces, a lot of the cues I take are from silent film, Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd, Charlie Chaplin, all the greats. So the visually pop of something hitting someone, it's the old pie in the face gag of the explosive hit. In John Wick, we try to not be overly expressive with violence or gore, but we do want some kind of panache put into it. So we look for debris. Sometimes we'll do it with dust hits, or we'll do explosive hits on the furniture, just something to give it a visual life to it. We saw this, we're like, oh, that's great. I don't have to dismember people. I can put a visual effect or a lighting effect on it that gives it a little bit of impact and oomph to it. So we thought this was a good way of doing it. And that's how we came up with the idea of taking something as simple as a type of ammunition and developing an entire sequence around it that showcased it in a way that we really haven't seen before in an action film.
12 or 9? 9!
We always joked about with John Wick about being Sisyphus, who was punished by Hades for cheating death, which seemed very apropos for John Wick. That he'd always, every day, he'd have to push a boulder to the top of the hill, and every night the boulder would roll back down, and that's how he was supposed to spend the rest of eternity. You know, I really recognize the gag and the process behind that myth from Buster Keaton. You'll see a lot of his work, and even a little bit of Harold Lloyd, whenever they do hills, or they're always falling down to get back up, to fall back down to get back up, seemingly in a never-ending cycle of pain and suffering. So we found the biggest staircase we could in Paris, which is on the steps of Sacre-Cœur. There's actually about 302 steps, I believe, but we used 222 of them. That's all we could fit into the frame at the time. We have like the rule of 3 in John. So John fights all the way to the top just to get knocked all the way back down. And then just when you think it's over and he's only got 2 minutes left, Kane comes in, offers him a help up, and that's when we kick into our heroic reveal of the two partners gonna team up for the final little let's get to the top of the stairs. We took all the lights and really pumped them out. We're on an overhead canopy on lighting, which is almost like being in a soundstage. It just had perfect time of year to be there. We had leaf coverage so we could keep all the other lights. Right above the trees, we have our little set of lights to give our fill. We've got a good shape here, so we have these sides where we can stick our cameras. Also a big William Friedkin fan, so if you go watch The Exorcist and the way they lit that, that's how we wanted to light the staircase. A little bit of foreboding there. So you're always gonna feel our guys coming down, and you feel little background guys coming up, so you always know where our guys are. So it's a constant up, down, left to right kind of vibe. The Sacre-Cœur was a really interesting staircase. Again, it gave us this really interesting perspective, much like the top shot of the Arc. It gave us this tilted vertical sensibility. So you're either looking down on either of the lateral sides, or you're looking up, which gives you this really nice symmetrical thing right to the church. Every time we look up, you can always get that sense of where he's going. It gives you a great sense of geography. When the camera's shaking around and you never establish the wider shot of where the character needs or has to go to, the audience can get lost in it, and maybe sometimes that's a good thing, but if you don't feel a sense of purpose, it's hard to get behind the character. You never know where he's at. With the staircase, once you do that original shot of looking up, and you see John go, ugh, you know he's got to get to the top. And every step he goes down, you're like, oh, come on, you got to make it. It gets the audience on the same ride as the actual character. Of course, we use CGI and digital help to help hide things and make things safer for the stunt team. But the idea is to create a practical sense. People have seen cars their whole lives, so getting hit by one is somewhat relatable. Everybody's slipped and fallen down before, so we do a lot of physical stunts, meaning we'll throw John Wick a lot of stairs, we'll have a lot of hard hits, things people can relate to and go, oh, geez, we want a visceral reaction from the audience. And when you see John Wick fall down 200 stairs, I think most people can kind of relate to, yeah, that would really suck. I think totally we did over 72 stair falls between the 20 stuntmen that were in the sequence. So every time a guy falls down, he'll actually fall down the stairs. The safety guy, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm still good. And he'll run all the way back around and come down to die again. And what you don't see behind camera, like these two poor wardrobe people that are handing them hats on the way by, so they're changing hats as they're going to go in. And that's how we keep our stunt team in shape. We take these baby pieces of foam strips and they're just barely put on the stairs to take the curse off, and then we digitally smooth them out. Don't want to take anything away from the stunt team, but we try to do our best to do every little thing we can to help them out. No stuntmen were injured in this filming of this sequence.
Switching stairs.
Thanks.
We thought the first movie was a finish. Like, Keanu and I are like, ooh, dodged a bullet on that one, because the movie was so nutty about killing 80 people over a puppy. We finished number 2 and we had the same response, like, ooh, never gonna direct after that weird one. And the third one, we said, this is the final one. We're good. We're in Japan and we just finished reading the treatise on samurai code of ethics, a treatise called Hagakure. And it was literally the art of the way of dying, like how to prepare yourself for death. We thought, well, that's a pretty cool thing. And we're like, well, we didn't get to do this on John Wick 3. I think we can do better. And we're like, well, the only reason to do it would be to put a bookend on it. We had the idea and thought, like, if we could really get this philosophy, the ending to grief, like you can see the references to Dante throughout about the layers of hell, preparing your lead character to die by doing something good. Okay, we got it. So we kind of already knew what we wanted to get out of it. A little bit of Buster Keaton, a little bit of anime, a little bit of samurai films, a little bit of wuxia films, a little bit of Wong Kar-wai, Zhang Yimou, a little Jackie Chan, and there you go.